Hi everyone, Justin here from EFM Fitness Online and the EFM Health Club Podcast. So I am going to go through a few core strengthening exercises on the podcast. This week we have been speaking about the different types of core exercises, and I thought I'd demonstrate a few that you can incorporate into your routine and a couple of little add-ons as we go, some bonuses and varieties of each different exercise. So now we're going to start with a basic plank. So one of our really good core exercises, which does the transverse abdominis, so like the corset around you, so to speak. We'll start with that. Most people know a plank. If you've never done a plank before, you're in for a treat, maybe a bit of a rude shock. One thing we want to go through that I want to recap from the episode today was that how we engage our core. So you can see my bummed out a little bit. I spoke about an anterior tilt. I have a bit of one as well. The simplest way to brace and engage these core muscles, particularly down here in your pelvic floor, is, and we spoke about reducing the gap between our hips and our ribs. Now, you can just crunch. If we tuck our bottom underneath, and that will automatically brace this pelvic floor here. Ready? So we're here and we brace. I'll try and get my hands out of the way. The difference between unbraced and braced. Right? From the front, brace. So now all of these muscles are switched on. My tummy, my backside is now braced and engaged as well. So when we spoke about that on the episode, we're going to tuck that bottom underneath, and it's going to bring your rib cage and your hips closer together. Wade spoke about imagining someone's going to punch you in the tummy. You automatically brace, belly button up into the rib cage also too. Okay, so we're going to go through that with each exercise, but that's physically showing you what we spoke about. Right, plank, really, really simple, right? We're going to keep, I always find it harder, and I think everyone should get into the habit of having their hands straight out rather than bracing in here, right? Hands straight out. Just check the mirror to make sure that your backside isn't sagging and it's not up in a tripod. Two variations I want to give you just to engage some of the other muscles as we go. We do some little twisting rotations here. If you're finding that you can do a plank for a minute, it's time to start to do something a little harder. So we can add these rotations so that the side muscles, so your oblique muscles, get a bit of workout. And the second variation, so our second variation is we're going to add a crunch. So if you think about your half sit up, your crunches, we're going to do that during the plank, crunch. And we want to just curl the back like a little cat-cow movement in yoga. Okay, so they're our three versions of a plank. Now, next exercise is, Wade spoke about a Pallof press. We're about to try that now. So on a cable machine, you can do this with a band. Make sure you have a band connected to a pole. Take a bit of a step out, and we're going to have this sitting just at your sternum. All right, so sternum, and we want to extend both arms out just very gently and back in. Feet bit out outside shoulder width, so we've got a good braced position. Let's tuck the bottom underneath, get that pelvic floor to work, extend out and extend in. Now, if you're looking at the cable machine, what you're asking the weights to do is not move, right? We're trying to extend the arms out and bring them back in with your weights not moving at all. I just keep checking out of habit. Extend, come back, and you'll feel one side a little bit more than the other. So that's good. So you will go and do, say, 8 on each, facing each direction. Jason spoke about cable wood chop. Right, this is one way to do it. So I always put my outside leg out. it stops me from just using my hips to turn. All right, so we're going to turn through the torso. So we can go from from down to up. All right, in the twist. All right, so we're rotating through our midsection. And we can also go from up to down. All right, outside leg, turn. And so I keep my arms quite extended. So my tummy, when I turn, is doing, or this torso, the difference between my hips and my upper body turning comes from that midsection. Next exercise. So we spoke briefly about squatting and lunging being really good core strengthening exercises. So we think about a basic squat, tuck our bum underneath, and we squat, right? Come back up so that those muscles are engaged all the way through. So a squat is as good a core exercise as you can possibly do done correctly, right? So we're bracing each time. If we want to add a little variant to that, so obviously with any kind of squat we can add load, put it on our back and squat. What I'd like you to try is I've got a light little bar here. Start with some light dumbbells, brace, squat, and that weight out from you is going to challenge all of your core muscles to brace, and your bottoms underneath bracing as you go up and down doing the squat. For the sides, right, so often you will see people in a gym with a kettlebell doing some of these. Good exercise done correctly, right? So let's make sure our movements happen with deliberation, that they're done with control, right? So if we're going to let this kettlebell sink us down, we want to control that with this oblique muscle. And then similarly, we want to pull it back up with that oblique, right? So let's get in our brace position here, and we'll sink slowly, tummy's holding, and then pull yourself up with that muscle too. So what does that feel like? Brace, go down, right, pull up from there. So not pulling with your arm, we're pulling, trying to realign yourself. So we let ourselves sink and then pull yourself up to come to straight. Slight little difference. You're doing it anyway, just be a little more conscious of it. You'll also see people in the gym sometimes swinging these things around, kettlebells, this kettlebell kind of around the world, it would be called. Great exercise again, done with control. All right, so let's brace, right? And the idea is that your hips don't move, okay? So we're swinging this around your hips, but nothing's kind of swaying around, right? From the outside, brace, or from the side, brace. So this movement around, this centrifugal force around you is causing you to move all over the place. But if you're braced, you're stopping that rotation, which is how we're exercising those muscles. Okay, couple more. Variations on a plank. We can also do what I call a bear crawl hold. Now the bear crawl has movement to it, but essentially it's hands and knees. Let me just tilt a little bit here so the camera can see easily. And then we'll go up with the knees and we'll hold, right? So very similar to a plank. Now you will see these kind of Supermans or bird dog exercises, which are fine as long as we're not twisting through the hips. So what we would like, let me make sure I can get seated on camera, is if we're going to go up and down here, right, in this position, our hips remain level. You can even come in and touch. Hips remain level. Okay, so imagine if you're doing those exercises, I've just put a glass of water on your lower back and you can't move. Glass of water, cup of tea, probably better visual. Don't spill the hot water on yourself. Okay, so just a little couple of pointers with those exercises there. That bear crawl one, particularly difficult. And then if we start adding movement to that, gets really, really tough. Okay, now one that isn't around a lot, one of my favorites that we do here, I have this long bar connected to my cable machine. I'm going to do it kneeling because again, I want to resist against that outside leg. All right, so we're in this kneeling position here. So this is my last one. This is my favorite, probably the hardest one. Okay, we're going to grab this long bar and I'm going to come out, right? And just pull it a little bit so that the bar is, now I'm holding the load. We're going to turn around that hip. And if you want to turn back, that would be fantastic. So I'm not letting my knee go out. We'll turn. And as a bonus, we're going to do a little bench press here. And we're back. All right, so if you can do all this without falling, by being in this brace position, you'll have a rock hard core to support you doing whatever you want. That's enough for me. Look forward to the next video. Try all of these exercises and remember that we want to do our movement slow and controlled so that you get the absolute benefit out of every movement. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.